Did Man City just make a huge mistake? They sold Julian Alvarez like he was just a backup, and now he's destroying teams in Spain. This is the story of how the Spider went from City's bench to becoming a nightmare for every club he faces. Stick around, because what Alvarez is doing now, City never saw it coming. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to find out why every club should fear Julian Alvarez. When Julian Alvarez signed for Manchester City, most fans thought, nice little backup for Haaland. That's it. Not a game changer. Not a future Ballon d'Or contender. Just a reliable second option. And yeah, at first, it looked that way. He scored when given the chance and showed flashes of brilliance. But let's be real. He had to share the spotlight with Haaland, making it harder to establish himself as the focal point of the attack. With Haaland smashing records left and right, Alvarez sometimes found himself playing out of position, featuring in a variety of roles, whether as a second striker or out wide, and often coming off the bench when the big names were resting, but still managed to make the most of his opportunities. But here's the thing, every time he did play, he delivered. Goals, assists, energy, he gave everything. Still, it never felt like City saw him as their main guy. He wasn't just fighting for minutes, he was fighting for recognition. Imagine being a World Cup winner and your club still treats you like a plan B. Alvarez knew his worth. He knew he could lead a team, not just fill in when someone's tired. And that's when things started to shift. He wasn't going to sit quietly in someone else's shadow forever. Julian Alvarez wasn't an overnight sensation. Born in 2000 in a small town in Argentina, he was obsessed with football from day one. At 15, he joined River Plate, where he quickly rose through the ranks. His move to Manchester City in January 2022 came after a successful period with River Plate, and he stayed on loan with the club until the summer of 2022. They called him El Araña, the Spider, because it felt like he had 8 legs the way he moved with the ball. Defenders couldn't touch him. At just 11 years old, Real Madrid spotted his talent and invited him to train. He even played in a tournament in Spain, but FIFA rules blocked the move because of his age, so he headed back home. Tough break? Maybe, but it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him. He joined River Plate at 15, not exactly early by academy standards, but Alvarez wasted no time catching up. The kid was electric, smart, fast, technical, a complete forward in the making. He didn't explode right away, but in 2021, boom, 24 goals in 46 games. Suddenly, everyone was watching. And when Argentina called him up for the World Cup, he made that dream of playing with Messi a reality. The whole world finally saw what Argentina already knew. Julian Alvarez was special. If there was one moment that flipped everything for Julian Alvarez, it was the World Cup. Before that, people saw him as a promising young striker. After that, he was a global star. Argentina called him up, and he didn't just tag along for the ride. Nah, he owned the moment. Playing side by side with Messi, Alvarez stepped up in the biggest games of his life. Remember that semi-final against Croatia? 2 goals. Pressure? What pressure? He wasn't just scoring though. He was chasing defenders, winning balls back, making smart runs. He did everything. That's what made him stand out. This wasn't some flashy player who only showed up for highlights. Alvarez did the dirty work too, and he did it with fire. And when Argentina lifted that trophy, the first since 1986, he was a massive part of it. That World Cup changed everything. Fans saw it. Clubs saw it. And suddenly, Manchester City weren't just bringing in a young talent. They were getting a World Cup hero. But even with all that hype, Alvarez still had to fight for his place at City. You think after winning a World Cup, Julian Alvarez would walk into any starting lineup, right? Well, not at Manchester City. When he joined in 2022, he was walking into a squad stacked with stars and led by Pep Guardiola, who always has a plan. But there was one massive roadblock: Erling Haaland. The guy was a goal machine, breaking records like it was nothing. So Alvarez had to settle. He played as a second striker, sometimes out wide, sometimes off the bench. It wasn't ideal, but he never complained. And when he did get minutes, he made them count. In his first season, he dropped 17 goals across all competitions: Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, you name it. He even played a key role in City's legendary treble-winning season. Not bad for a backup, right? But still, deep down, Alvarez wanted more. He wasn't built to be a supporting act forever. He had that fire, the drive to be the guy, the one leading the attack. And that's when he made a bold move that caught everyone off guard. Imagine if, in the summer of 2024, Julian Alvarez had a choice. Could he stay at Manchester City, continue winning trophies but playing a secondary role, or take a risk and lead the charge somewhere else? If he were to make that move, Atletico Madrid would be an ideal destination, a club ready to build around him, with their system a perfect fit for his style. But for now, he remains at Manchester City, continuing to make his mark as a key player. People were shocked. Some said the price was too high. Others didn't even think he was worth it. But Diego Simeone, he knew exactly what he was getting. A hard-working, relentless forward who could press, create, and finish. A perfect fit for his intense, no-nonsense system. At first, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Alvarez struggled to settle. He was even benched in the opening La Liga match. Critics were already talking. Overpriced, overhyped. You know the drill. Then things clicked. Simeone changed up the formation, put Alvarez up top with Antoine Griezmann, and everything changed. The chemistry was instant. Alvarez started scoring, assisting, leading attacks. His movement? Sharp. His link-up play? Brilliant. His work rate? Unmatched. Suddenly, Atletico had a new star. Not just another striker, but a leader, a game changer. And now, defenders in La Liga and Europe are having nightmares because Alvarez isn't just proving City wrong, he's proving the whole world wrong. So here's the thing, Julian Alvarez isn't just playing well at Atletico, he's scaring teams. This isn't the same kid City used off the bench. This version of Alvarez is unleashed, confident, ruthless, and running games from the front. He's not just scoring, he's pressing like a madman, creating space for others, and dragging defenders all over the place. Remember that Champions League night against Bayer Leverkusen? 2 goals, including a 90th minute winner. That wasn't luck. That was ice-cold finishing when it mattered most. What makes him so dangerous now is how unpredictable he is. He can drop deep like a playmaker, sprint in behind like a poacher, or strike from outside the box. You can't pin him down. And when you pair that with his non-stop energy, he becomes a nightmare for any backline. Defenders can't relax when Alvarez is around. Midfielders can't ignore him. Managers have to plan their entire defensive setups around one player, and that says everything. Atletico have found their guy. And for clubs across Europe, that's a problem. Because when a player this good finally gets the freedom to shine, yeah, you better start worrying. And for City fans, they're probably starting to wonder if they just let a future Ballon d'Or contender walk away. Julian Alvarez's journey is proof that sometimes the biggest risks bring the greatest rewards. When he left Manchester City for Atletico Madrid, the critics had plenty to say. Why would he leave a winning machine? Is he really ready to be the main man? But the guy who had once been a backup striker is now leading one of Europe's biggest clubs, dominating games and silencing every doubter. His decision to leave City wasn't just bold, it was a statement. Alvarez wanted to be more than a rotation player. He wanted to be a leader. And look at him now. At Atletico Madrid, he's thriving under Simeone's guidance, becoming the focal point of an attack that's terrifying to face. It's not just his goals that make him valuable. His relentless work, his smart runs, his ability to link up and create chances for others. Every club that passed on him or thought they could hold on to him for too long is regretting it now. But here's the real question. Can he take Atletico all the way? Can he bring the La Liga title and the Champions League to Madrid? It's a long road ahead, but Alvarez is on a path to greatness. Manchester City may have let the future superstar slip through their fingers. But for Atletico Madrid, They found a leader, a game changer, and a potential club legend. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Julian Alvarez's rise, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories of football's most exciting stars. You don't want to miss what comes next.